Hello, welcome to another episode of Insider Focus. Thanks so much for joining me. And Pete are about to talk all things West Ham United. Conor Gallagher, we'll talk Palhinha at Fulham. We'll talk about a striker target as well and a big outgoing too. So lots coming up. Before we do that, please make sure you hit like and subscribe. Always appreciated. Leave your comments below as well. Let us know what you think, West Ham fans. Hammers, what do you think about your current transfer window? All right, I'll get out of your way and on with the video. So let's talk first. Let's start with Antonio, shall we? Because I think that's the one that might surprise a few people. Is the fact that Antonio could be on his way to Saudi. I don't think a lot of people would have expected that, but we know Saudi. I put out about this before. They're working in a tier system. Tier 1 is all your Mahrez and Benzemas and all these. Then it's tier 2 and tier 3. So they're starting to move into tier 2. Perhaps players you wouldn't expect, Pete. And Antonio's got the opportunity, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does have interest from Saudi Arabia in his services this summer. Steven Gerrard's Al Atifi are interested in this Jamaican international. They see him as a signing they would like to bring to the club for next season as well. They are in the market for a striker. They've also shown a bit of interest in Divock Origi from AC Milan, who's out of favour there right now as well. And obviously there's Liverpool links there between Steven Gerrard and Origi and possibly Jordan Henderson going there also as well. But yeah, from my understanding is that West Ham would consider offers for Michail Antonio this summer. He came very close to leaving the club in the January transfer window. We have to remember there was a lot of interest from the likes of Wolves and Nottingham Forest were in from then, but he decided to stay at West Ham and help them win the Europa Conference League as well as secure Premier League survival as well. But I think if West Ham were to get a suitable offer for Antonio this summer, it's something they would seriously consider. And also, he's in the final year of his contract now at West Ham, so this is their last chance to get some money probably for the player as well. So it could be a good deal for everybody involved. Antonio, I'm sure, will get offered a lucrative contract from Saudi as well. So it's a deal that I think that ticks a lot of boxes for everybody. West Ham get a decent transfer fee, and Michail Antonio goes and helps promote the Saudi Pro League and gets richly deserved and rewarded for it.
You do have to wonder how much Antonio kind of knew about this before, because he's put out a number of tweets and Instagram posts that have been a bit cryptic about his future and all that kind of Pete. So, I mean, obviously they would have known, there would have been interest for a while. So this is all coming to fruition now. Let's talk about some incomings. Talk to me about Emiliano Martinez at FC Midtjylland, Pete, a player that's wanted by a number of clubs in West Ham. They're one of them.
Yeah, he's an interesting player, Martinez. Probably not a lot of people know a great deal about him, but yeah, he's moved from South America to Midtjylland in the January transfer window. Has done really well in Europe and has also broken now into the Uruguay national team under Marcelo Bielsa. He has played the first two games under Bielsa, two friendlies against Nicaragua and Cuba. And Bielsa has been very impressed with Martinez. So he's your typical defensive midfielder. He's good presser of the ball as well. And we all know that West Ham are in the market for midfielders this summer following the departure of Declan Rice. Martinez is a young player with huge potential, wouldn't cost a great deal either from Midtjylland as well. So he ticks a lot of boxes for the Hammers, but it's not just West Ham who are interested in him. A number of Premier League clubs and clubs all across Europe are looking at the South American as well. And now he's broken into that Uruguay national team. The chances for him now to go and move to a bigger European league, and some English Premier League clubs are ready to offer him that opportunity.
Yeah, because he's got a contract till 2023, Pete, because he only arrived in January at Midtjylland. So he literally is brand new in the door, isn't he, there? So it would be a big deal. It would be quite a big bit of money, to get him out of there, surely.
Yeah, it'd take a decent fee to get out of him now, especially now he's a full international as well for Uruguay. So that puts a few more zeros probably on his price tag as well. But I'm sure if the opportunity did come up and the Premier League clubs did come calling for Martinez this summer, it's something that the player, I'm sure, would push for as well. So that would help any of his interested suitors. And I don't think Midtjylland, they're a well-run club in Denmark. They would find it pretty hard to reject a sizable fee if these clubs do firm up their interest in the defensive midfielder this summer.
Yeah, it's an area that they are looking to. Obviously, they've lost Declan Rice in centre midfield to that £105 million deal to Arsenal. So that's certainly a player, an area that they are looking to strengthen. And there's a number of names in the mix. So let's talk about Conor Gallagher first. We'll go on him. So I do know that West Ham are interested in Conor Gallagher. Chelsea know they're interested in Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher's agents know that there's interest in Conor Gallagher. But that's as far as it's gone at this point. There's no bid in. Some reports suggested that there's been around £40 million bid in. My understanding is that's not correct. It's just interest at this point. Chelsea also unlikely to sell him until they've also brought in, Caicedo and others that they're working on as well, because they need numbers in midfield. But Conor Gallagher, a player wanted by a number of clubs, Tottenham as well around him. Pete, certainly a player that could stay at Chelsea depending on what happens with incomings, but maybe needs to move perhaps to kind of get the best out of him.
Yeah, big decision ahead for Conor Gallagher this summer. As you said, Fraser, there has been interest from West Ham and Tottenham in the England international, but he's obviously away with Chelsea right now on their tour of America, so he is trying to impress Mauricio Pochettino and try and prove that he has got a long-term future at Chelsea. I think his open desire will be to stay at Chelsea and become a regular under the new Chelsea boss for the new season ahead, but he's got to be selfish and think about things. If he wants to become a regular in Gareth Southgate's plans for England, he's going to have to play regular first-team football. Didn't really happen for him last season off the back of a great season on loan at Crystal Palace the previous year. So I think for Conor Gallagher right now, at this stage of his career, he needs to be playing regularly. So he's going to have to weigh up everything before the close of the transfer window, see where his future lies. But I think, as you said, nothing's going to happen imminently on this one until Chelsea sort out their own midfield targets, trying to bring in players. Right now, they've been a massive turnaround of players at Stamford Bridge this summer with players leaving. So I think Mauricio Pochettino definitely wants to add to his squad before he lets any more players go out. And it would take a decent fee, I think, for Chelsea to part ways with Conor Gallagher as well. So, yeah, interesting Gallagher, and the final decision will be down to Chelsea to see what they want to do with him.
Yeah, that £40 million is an interesting fee that's been floated. I think it was 40 million plus to get Conor Gallagher out of Chelsea. At this stage, I don't think they're going to accept the 40 million flat. I think it will be over that amount. Obviously, there was Palhinha as well, wasn't there, Pete? At Fulham, we know West Ham have had kind of one bid knocked back for him. Fulham value him very, very highly. Certainly not a player that they want to sell cheaply at all. Again, and player that only recently arrived as well, so they've got a lot of kind of leeway on that. Nothing more on that at this point in time, literally just the one bid. Maybe West Ham looking elsewhere at this point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult to try and get that deal done for Palhinha. There's no doubts the Portuguese midfielder is West Ham's top target to come in and replace Declan Rice. They've had that £45 million rejected. That's nowhere near where Fulham value Palhinha. They're looking at 60 million plus at least. And I'm not sure West Ham will get to that number as well. So as things stand right now, I expect Palhinha to stay at Fulham, but it's been a bit of an unsettling period at Fulham right now with speculation over the manager's future. Also, Alexander Mitrovic could be on the move as well. So could be a really destabilising time for Fulham right now. They definitely do not want to lose Palhinha, especially to one of their London rivals. So I think West Ham have been politely told, don't come back with a new offer because you'll be wasting your time. We want to keep Palhinha at Craven Cottage. So unless it's an astronomical offer, I don't see Fulham even entertaining a move for the Portuguese midfielder this summer.
No, and I think especially Mitrovic you could see selling or going because they can replace him, and there was almost interest in him anyway, Pete. But I think with the manager situation on top of it, it would just be so much, it would destabilise so much of what they've done last season because they had a really good year and they want to build off of that as well. The striker situation, interesting for West Ham. We do know that they want someone in who's going to put the ball in the back of the net, Pete. Antonio leaving, it's not really hit off for the men up front for them, has it? Scamacca, interesting situation. We'll wait and see what unfolds. But obviously, let's talk about Yuri Alberto as well. Corinthians forward, Pete. Number of clubs interested in Yuri Alberto. West Ham have also put him on the list or have him in the radar.
Yeah, he's a player that's emerging on the radar of a number of Premier League clubs this summer. Fraser, a good player, good age as well. I think he's got huge potential to get better and better. Premier League clubs more and more are looking at the South American market to see if they can exploit that and sign some of the best young talents. We've seen how busy Chelsea have been in the Brazilian market this summer, bringing in some of their top talents. West Ham have also explored the South American market to see if there's any value there as well for players. So Yuri Alberto is definitely one of those players that they are looking at, a Brazil international as well. He's got a decent goal scoring record, so they're seeing him as somebody who could come in and help them solve their goal scoring problems, because last season they probably just didn't score enough goals, especially from their front men. As you said, Antonio didn't have the most prolific of seasons, and then they spent big on Gianluca Scamacca last summer to bring him in from Italy. But the Italian international struggled for form and fitness and wasn't able to show his best. So I think David Moyes, going into this new season, wants to bring in a regular goal scorer just to ensure that West Ham don't have any relegation fears like they did last season.
Yeah, and they've also signed Manchester City's youngster Carlos Borges as well. He's coming in absolutely rapid. He's so quick. It's unbelievable, the winger. So he's another one in. Buyback clause for Manchester City, similar to kind of a Romeo Lavia kind of deal at Southampton, I suppose, is the best kind of comparison there. So a player that Man City obviously value, Pete, because they've put the buyback clause on him because they think he could become something. And when you've got the money Man City have, they're willing to put a buyback clause on of, 3 times the price, probably around that mark. So they can get him in future. Another good signing for West Ham.
Yeah, he looks a real exciting talent, Carlos Borges. As you said, unbelievable season in Premier League 2 last year for Manchester City with a number of goals and assists as well. And he has been highly talked of at Manchester City as well. The problem is, how do you break into that star-studded starting lineup of Pep Guardiola? Is really hard right now, and that's maybe Borges is seeing his path to the first team block. So West Ham are maybe ready to offer him that opportunity to play regular first team football in the Premier League, and West Ham will be hoping that he can fulfill his potential at the London Stadium. And then, as you said, smart business by Manchester City as well if they include this buyback clause as well, because if he is as good as people expect him to be at West Ham, there's no doubts that Manchester City will try and utilise that contract clause and bring him back to the Etihad as soon as they can. But yeah, real exciting talent. I think he'll be somebody who will get people off their seats next season at the London Stadium with the style of play that he is as well. So yeah, I think it could be a real good signing for West Ham and an exciting one for the fans.
Let's just talk and finish on Harry Maguire, because this has come up a lot. And listen, not one I've reported on personally, Pete, but certainly a player that has been linked to the likes of West Ham and others a lot. High wage. And one of the reasons that Man United are struggling to get him out is because he's earning so much. And I don't see West Ham matching that figure that Manchester United are paying him, Pete. Certainly an area that they might improve more in defence, for sure. But is Harry Maguire going to be that guy, Pete? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm sure there is admirers of Harry Maguire from West Ham. I'm sure David Moyes is a big fan of the England international as well. And you get a player like Harry Maguire who becomes available in the market, you have to look at him, although he has had a disappointing time of late for Manchester United. But I think there's no doubt in his quality. You just got to look at his CV as well. West Ham are in the market for a centre-back, but as you said, even on loan, Harry Maguire will be an expensive deal for whoever wants to buy him this summer. He's on big wages at Manchester United, and although he's been stripped of that captaincy now with Bruno Fernandes, the new skipper at Old Trafford, the player himself is in no rush to leave. He feels he still has something to offer to Erik ten Hag's side and is ready to fight for his place until he's told otherwise right now as well. So until that happens, I don't think we'll see anything move on Harry Maguire as well. But if he does become available, I'm sure West Ham and a number of Premier League clubs will be ready to take him, even if it's just on a temporary basis of loan.
Yeah, for sure. It is busy. It's getting busy. West Ham are about to get busy as well. We'll see if they do go for Conor Gallagher. I think that'll be a bit later. James Ward-Prowse, obviously, another one, Pete, who's been linked and I think would be a perfect signing for West Ham in a lot of ways with the set-piece ability. But again, might be a bit early for him. We're coming into August, and I think the kind of middle of August, you'll start to see a lot of these deals getting done. It's a bit of a weird window, Pete. I don't know if you found the same, just because of Saudi. It's kind of made everything very odd. A lot of people waiting on moves there and stuff. So a lot happening in the next couple of weeks. Thanks again, Pete, for joining me. Always a pleasure to have you on and talk to you, my man. And make sure you hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.